Hello, everyone. Today, I want to discuss the lessons Nigerian business mogul can learn from the Murdoch Dynasty's succession battle. Rupert Murdoch is a 94-year-old man in America and is the owner of the popular Fox News, New York Post, and other media outlets. And the dynastic succession battle that happened regarding his assets is a very interesting one, which I believe Nigerian business moguls or titans can learn from. And the facts of the case are pretty straightforward and simple. Rupert Murdoch divorced his second wife several years ago, and when he divorced his wife, he established an irrevocable trust, stating that all his children would have equal shares in his business empire, which controls several other media outlets. And he had six children, but four of the children were the ones involved in the dispute. And what had happened was he had a preference for one of his children. He wanted one of his children to run the empire based on their political leaning. The child was a conservative, but his three other siblings were liberal. So he felt that if he allowed the four of them to determine who becomes the heir of the empire or who becomes the one in charge of the empire after his demise, that might dilute the ideological leaning of the company. So after setting up the trust, several years later, he attempted to change a provision stating that his preferred child will take over the running of the company. And the trust had stated that one of the only ground upon which you can change any condition is if it was done in good faith. And he claimed that he was changing this provision to make one of his children become the heir in good faith and in the best interest of all the children. But these three other children challenged him in court and they filed a lawsuit in court. However, whilst the lawsuit was pending, they were able to resolve the lawsuit amicably because the three other children sold their shares to him and he was able to buy the shares. The son was able to buy the shares for $1.1 billion each for the three children. So what the key lesson this shows us is that we see most Nigerian businessmen, when you have empires, you have companies running your business, and let's say you have children, we give them equal shares in the company without thinking about what will happen after your demise. If you have four children, you have five children, it's not possible that the five of them will be very good at running your company. As the owner of the business, as the founder of the business, you would have identified who has the skills, the mindset, the exposure to run the company. So if you find yourself in this sort of situation where you believe that one of your children should be the one in charge of your dynasty or your empire, you must take that into consideration when doing your estate planning. Because if you don't take that into consideration, you might not be as lucky as Rupert Murdoch, because Murdoch was lucky in the sense that his children were able to take him to court during his lifetime regarding the trust. And for several years, he was estranged from three of his children. When he got married to his fifth wife, none of them attended. The three of them didn't attend. So, but he was lucky that the battle didn't start after his demise. If it had started after his demise, he might not have been able to be this lucky. So, if you want to avoid this sort of situation and you are doing your estate planning, it's good to be equal amongst the children. But if you have certain preferences regarding succession planning, regarding the running of your businesses, make specific plan and incorporate them into your estate planning document, whether it's your will, whether it's a share transfer instrument, whether it's a trust. So I hope that we can learn from this lesson and take the lessons into consideration when engaging in our estate planning. Thank you very much.